Tech by Tips.
Welcome to another Tech by Tips video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about an application that was requested for me to make a video, and I kind of held on to for a little bit. I noticed that they have released an update about 2 months ago, and I think now is a good moment to cover this application. So we're going to be talking about the application named Invoice Ninja. And first of all, I want to thank Keenan Woods for a donation to the channel. Thank you very much for that donation. That really helps us a lot to focus more on this channel and make good quality content for you that you can enjoy and find useful. And yes, so let's get to this. We're going to be talking about Invoice Ninja. This is an application that is available on github.com. It's open source, so you can see this is a GitHub repository for this application. This application is basically a PHP-based application. It consists, I believe, on 3 modules for it. If we look here into the stats, it says that it's 95% PHP, 3.7 Blade, and 1.1 HTML. And so far, the latest release was 2 weeks ago, which is version 5.8.57. And this application is for small businesses mainly. So if you have a small business and you engage in contracting with people and you want to bill them, this is what this application is for. It allows you to submit invoices to people online, fully online, and you can connect your bank account. You can connect it to several payment platforms like PayPal and others, so that you can just send an electronic invoice to people for a service that you provide to them, and then they're allowed to pay directly online on any of their devices. And once they pay online, then your Invoice Ninja gets updated with that payment, and then it allows you to know when you've gotten paid, and it allows you to keep track of your business, like how much you have worked, how much you got paid, how many things you have pending for payment, etc. So it's really nice. I've seen that there's good improvements on version 5 versus when I originally looked at this on version 4, and I was like, let's give it some time. This application is being actively developed. I would say so far it's pretty nice. They have a version that is hosted by them online, but they also allow you to host it yourself in your own infrastructure. So you have both opportunities to do that. If we go here in the GitHub repository, it gives you a link to use their hosted service or how to host it yourself, and it tells you about the support options that they have. And here immediately they give you access to the documentation for this application, so that's really good. How to get the applications, how to install it, all the different options that they have, and how to connect to different providers. So it's pretty straightforward. The GitHub is pretty nice on that. And then if we go into the app documentation, then it'll take us to this webpage where you have information about a lot of things. For example, how to migrate from a previous version to version 5, how to install it for you to self-host it, resources if you're a developer and you want to connect things with Invoice Ninja, the basic user guide here for people, and they give you access also to a demo that you can use, and other options. So if we go into the user guide, that's where we get most of the information. And I noticed that they do have a lot of good YouTube videos on the features of the application, how to do things with the application. So that's really nice. They have a YouTube channel, Invoice Ninja, so you can go there and read and see from them directly how to do things. But it gives you a lot of stuff over here, so you can kind of figure out what you can do. It tells you how to get started to set up the application, etc. It gives you information about the payment gateways that you can use for your payments here. So you can see it has Stripe, PayPal, and a bunch of others, Square, for example. And it tells you how to do that, and information about other things that you might need to be aware of on this. And basically it gives you a lot of things here. It's a really good documentation. I'm not gonna go over it. It was just wanted to show you this, right? And here's a self-hosted installation that gives you also details of how to host this application. The main part that I want to cover is the demo. So you can click here and it'll take you to a live demo of the application that you can kind of tweak and like click around and see how it behaves. And as you can see, whenever you log into Invoice Ninja, you have a dashboard. You can customize that dashboard with a bunch of different modules that you can use to organize it in a way that is more meaningful to you, that makes more sense to you. As you can see, it gives you graphs of how your business is doing, things that you have pending payment, things that you have already been paid for, expenses that you have incurred, and stuff like that. And here it gives you also like the same kind of information, but in another way of presenting it. And you can see the activity of things that have been done in the platform, payments that have been processed, etc. So you can see, you can create the dashboard however you like, however you find it more useful to you. So that's the first thing. You also have the option here to establish a database of clients. That's normal. Usually any kind of sales platform does that. Things like Salesforce, for example, is one thing that you do. You build a library of clients, people that you have reached out to for possible work, or people that you have already performed work for, and you just keep track of them and see if you can engage them with other products or services from your business. So you can manage your list of clients there. You also have an option here for managing products that you sell to people or provide. These products could be services too, I guess. And you can here create your own list of products, and you can do a lot of things with those products. You can create your invoices. That's once you have provided a service or you're reaching an agreement with people. That's for you to bill them, basically. So you can create your invoices here. And if you have some sort of contract with a person or a company where you're going to do multiple jobs, so you are going to say, I'm going to do recurring invoices, like maybe you're going to do the same job but on different timelines or different months, for example, or something like that, then you could do a recurring invoice so that it bills every time you do something. Just to give an example, let's say you have a landscaping business, right? You need to cut somebody's grass, right? That happens several times a year. So that could be a recurring invoice. Then you have here the options for the payments. And this tells you whenever you sent an invoice and someone has paid you that invoice. So it tells you that the transaction was completed and you got paid and stuff like that. And you can keep track of that. You also can do quotes. So let's say you're negotiating with someone or another business to provide them some service. You can create a quote, send them the quote, and then they can see if they like it or not, and you work it out with your client. You also have an option to do credits here. So you can agree to some sort of payment from the person, then you give them an amount of credits, and then they use those credits as time passes. So you can do that too. That's an option that you have. You have an option to create projects, and you link that project to a client and rates and tasks that you're going to do and all that. So that's another way to manage information about how do you do business. That's another thing that is offered by Invoice Ninja. And for those projects, you have the option to create tasks, and those tasks you can kind of match to a client and to a project, and then you can organize your stuff like that, because your tasks are going to have like a time that they take for you to do things, and maybe a cost and things like that. Also, you can create your library of vendors. If you rely on vendors to do your work or your business, you keep your list of vendors here. You also have the purchase orders. So that's something that you can track. If you have a purchase order, you can put it here, track it, and dashboard it in the dashboard, etc. You have also the expenses option. This is where you would basically track all your expenses, and works the same. You create a list and manage them, and you see the status of it, if it has been paid or not, etc. And the same, just like with the recurring invoices, you can also keep recurring expenses, so you can track things that are repeatable. So that's another option that you have. And this is something new that they added with version 5 that I liked, which is the reports. In this section, you can create different reports based on the data that you have in your platform. So there's a lot of things here you can do. So you pick something here, and then you have options here to organize how that report is going to be. And here's your settings, how you set up the application. This is very, very customizable for the business, so I'm not really going to go into any of the details. You can go to their YouTube channel In their YouTube channel, they have all of the information on how to set this up properly, so it's unnecessary for me to go through this. I just wanted to give you a quick highlight of all the things that you can do with the application. And then down here you have other options. For example, the contact us. Here you have a link to the forums. You also have the user guide accessible here, and you have the about option here. So that's basically what the user interface has. It's grown nicely. I believe they right now offer you like about 15 different templates. You can have 4 templates active in the instance of the application. So that's nice. I also saw a video where they do things like, for example, you can create your signature using your computer and then basically stamp it and put it into the PDF documents so everything is signed. So they're adding a lot of cool features here to this application. So I would say now on version 5, this is definitely a good application for small businesses to use. It has a good use case. If you can host it yourself, so you don't really need an absurd amount of resources for this. You just basically need a database, you need the Invoice Ninja server, and I think there's something else like a middleware or something like that. So you could probably host this in one machine. So far, I think it's very useful. It actually would save small businesses extra costs. And if they find that managing the infrastructure themselves is too burdensome, they can just go with the hosted version that they provide you for a fee. So I think it works for all people, right? If you go here into the hosted link, it takes you here where it tells you about how to use their service where they host it for you. And it tells you what kind of things you can do to customize it, etc. And what you can integrate it to, and all of those things, right? And what you can do with it. And if you go on the section that says self-hosted, then you'll find details on how to host it yourself. All the options that they have, how you install all of that. It tells you what they're using for their code base. How do you install it? There's several ways to install it. You can install it directly in a machine. It could be a Linux machine, for example. They also have Docker containers that you can deploy, which is, I would say, probably the best way to do it. And when I was looking at that, they provide you with a Docker Compose file, and that Docker Compose file basically creates everything. Creates a MySQL database and the Invoice Ninja application and all the things that you need. So they're actually making it easy for people to do that. Let's say, for example, if I click here where it says Docker file, it takes us to Docker Hub where they have all the information that you need here. It tells you, for example, if you're going to use version 5, the Docker file is here, and then you click there and it takes you to another GitHub repository that has the actual Docker Compose file. And then it tells you some things that you have to be aware of. For example, on certain environments, you have to use MariaDB instead of MySQL, and they give you information about that here. For example, if you're using Raspberry Pis that are running the ARM64 Central Processing Unit architecture, I think it's pretty well, it's pretty documented, well done. And if you want to use this as a base to host it in another way, for example, we could host it in Synology NAS, creating the Docker containers ourselves. So you can basically go into the Docker Compose and see what they're deploying, and then basically use those Docker images and then deploy it directly into the Synology Docker version. And then it tells you what you need to put, like all the environment variables and all the stuff that you need, right? And as you can see here, basically there's a service for Nginx, right? And we have the Invoice Ninja app, which is another thing that you need, and then a database to hold the information. So those are basically the 3 components that you need to successfully run this application. I'm thinking about creating another video in the future in details explaining how to do this. We could do it with a Docker Compose file directly in a machine, could be Windows or Linux, and then translating this Docker Compose, for example, to deploy it in a Synology NAS or something similar. So that's something that I'm going to be doing for a video in the future. But I just wanted to let you know that it is here, it's easy to follow, it's easily available. They're making it really easy for you to follow instructions and answer your questions. So in my opinion, this is a good application, good open source. It's worth it, especially for small businesses. If you have a small business, this will be great for you to keep track of your expenses, your payments, and all of that. It'll make your taxes probably easier also, because you can easily get all of that information printed out, provided to a tax expert if you're doing it that way, or for you to do it yourself. So this is it. I just wanted to make a short video on this, cover how you get access to all the things that they provide you to set this application up, kind of give you a little bit of a view of the demo, and then just tell you what I think about it. So that's gonna be it for this one. Once again, I want to thank Keenan Woods for the donation. Remember, if you like the content, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, that helps us a lot, and share the videos also to people that you think might find it useful. Also remember, the comment section is down below. You can let me know anything that you want to be covered in the channel. I'll gladly put that in the queue and work on the videos as time comes along. And also, thank you very much for the support. If you want to support me to focus on this channel, provide you good quality content, and help you to set up this kind of things, feel free to donate with the link in the description below, or using PayPal or Bitcoin. And that's going to be it for this one. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Enjoy your long weekend if you're in the US. And if not, enjoy your short weekend. But thank you very much. Take good care.